In the Git repository under tutorial 7, there is a demo.http file. This holds 3 requests. The first one goes to /user/1. The second is /user/1/edit. And the other one is /user/1 and delete. This is all going to be running off of a controller, and that controller is in src controller and user controller.php. The user controller has the 3 roots. We've got index, we've got edit, and we've got delete. And as we've seen, there are a lot of similarities in these roots. So for example, they always start at /user, and these roots will have a similar name. In fact, the name is always prefixed with app_user. And we can group these roots together by using the root annotation against the user controller, as well as the root annotations against the particular root methods. The root annotation at the controller level will supply the values that are used as prefixes for the particular roots contained within the controller. So for example, all the roots start with /user. This means that the index method has the root / and then the parameter ID. But actually this gets interpreted as /user /ID. Likewise, it has the name of index, but actually it gets interpreted as app_user_ and then index. This is because the name of the user class controller root attribute is used as a prefix for this root. And it's the same with all of the roots within this controller. So for example, the edit root starts with /ID /edit, but actually that is /user / the parameter ID and then /edit. And likewise, the name is edit, but actually it is app_user_ edit. And we can set rules for any root at the controller level. So if we wanted every root to have a get method, what we could do is supply the parameter methods with either a string or an array of the methods that we want to constrain the roots to have. So in this case, it would be get. And this means that each of the roots within this controller will allow for get requests, which means that we can remove the get method from this root, and the roots that have post and delete will also now include the method get. Let's quickly demonstrate that. So if I go to the demo.http file and copy the delete request and change the delete method to be a get method and send the request, we're also going to get a 200 OK. And of course, if I was to run the delete method against that request, we're also going to get a 200 OK. This means that we can use the attributes on the root at the class level to contain any rules that all of the roots must adhere to. And this means that we can also set requirements. Each of these roots has the same requirement. The ID must be \d+, which is looking for digits. And this is the same in all of the methods in this controller class. So what I can do is remove the requirements from each of these method root attributes, and I can supply it against the controller root attribute. I'm going to bring each of the parameters down to a new line so it's easier to read. And then I'm going to remove the requirements parameter from the edit root attribute and the delete root attribute. This means that I've enforced those requirements at the class level. So if I go back to demo.http, if I ran the delete request again from /user /1 /delete, we're going to get to 200 OK. But because of the requirements, if I was to change the value of 1 to be a string, let's say test for instance, and ran the request, we're going to get a 404 not found. That is because we're still confining that root to that requirements, but the requirements is set at the class level. This is pretty neat, right? We can now create common rules for our roots and put that at the controller level. This groups the roots together. This ensures that we're not having to duplicate requirements or methods, and this means that we are enforcing rules for our roots in a common place. place. If you found this tutorial helpful, then do let me know. Give it a thumbs up, share it around to those who might find it useful too. A full write-up of this tutorial and all the tutorials that I've got will be at howtocodewell.net. And whilst you're there, consider taking a look at some of the courses that I have on offer. Happy coding, everyone, and I'll see you again in the next Symfony tutorial.